Kachi Kachi Mountain. Once upon a time, there was an old farmer who cultivated a field in the mountains. One day his old wife came and brought him his dinner, but a badger stole and ate it. This made the old man angry, and at last he took the badger alive, carried it home with him, and hung it to a rafter by the feet. Then he said to his wife, "Let us have this badger for soup. Have it well cooked and wait till I come back." Then he went again to the field. His wife was pounding barley in a mortar and singing. In distress, the badger said, "If you will only spare my life, I will pound the barley for you." As it was indeed sad plight, she untied the cord and let it down. Then right away the badger sprang at the old woman and killed her and made her into soup. Then he assumed her shape and sat waiting when the old man returned from the field. When he was about to partake of the soup, the badger assumed his original form and cried out, "You wife-eating old man, you! Did not you see the bones under the floor?" Laughing derisively, it escaped out of doors and disappeared. The old man threw down his chopsticks and cried long and bitterly. Now in the same mountain there lived an old rabbit. Hearing the voice of the old man crying, he came and tried to comfort him, and said he would himself avenge the death of the old woman. "First," he said, "parch me some beans." And the old man parched them. The rabbit put the parched beans in a pouch and said, "Now to the mountain again," and away he went. The badger was attracted by the smell and came and said, "Give me about a handful of those beans." This was what the rabbit was expecting. So he said, "I will if you will carry a bundle of dry grass for me over to yon mountain." "I will do as you say without fail," replied the badger, "only first give me the beans." He begged importunately, but the rabbit said, "Yes, after you have carried the load of dry grass." He then put on his back a great pile of dried grass and sent the badger on before, while he took out his flint and struck out a spark and set the bundle on fire. The badger, alarmed at the noise, asked, "What is that?" The rabbit replied, "That is Kachi Kachi Mountain." Soon the fire began to kindle and spread in the dried grass. The badger, hearing this again, asked, "What is that?" The rabbit replied, "That is Bobo Mountain." By this time the fire had spread to the badger's back and burned it badly. Crying out in pain, he rolled over and shook off his load and ran away out of sight. The rabbit next mixed some sauce and red pepper and made a tea sticking plaster, put on a hat, and set out to sell it as a cure for blisters and burns. The badger was then lying helpless with his back all raw and sore. That must be a good medicine, he thought, when he heard of it. So he got some applied to his back. But there is no language to tell how he smarted when the red pepper sticking plaster was applied to his sore skin. He just rolled over and howled long and bitterly. Now after about 20 days the badger's sore was healed. The rabbit was then making a boat, and the badger, seeing it, asked, "What are you going to do with this boat?" The rabbit replied, "I intend to catch fish," thus deceiving. The badger felt envious, but was dull in that kind of work. "I too will make a boat of clay," he said. So having made a clay boat, he rowed out to sea along with the rabbit. Then the badger's boat began to sink, and when it was sinking, the rabbit brandished aloft his oar and struck the badger dead, thus avenging the old man's wife.